Hi, everybody. You probably didn't expect me to be smiling today. Kevin Stefanski sure as fuck isn't. Welcome to Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. And joining me so far on the panel is Tony the Calf. And we'll see if anyone else jumps in here. Or maybe people are just so sick and tired of the whole situation. Today's show will hopefully shed some more light on not only the Cleveland Browns, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, because both teams are the source of negative conversations in the Cleveland sports world. So, my pleasure to explain as many things as I feel I'm capable of explaining. I always start out with Kevin Stefanski's post-game press conference, and I'm not going to spend very much time about this because I wanted to point out only one thing in the whole thing, and that's that people who use evasive language are not to be trusted, and they are overly secretive for a reason. And Kevin Stefanski is a guy who likes to kind of speak real in the same comments over and over again, or he uses language that might not be the most bold and direct language that he could use. He's always extremely cautious. This was the question that was put to him. If you watched the football game yesterday, which I'm assuming that you did, they, from the get-go, they weren't ready to play. I mean, quite honestly, compared to other weeks, it was far worse. And the lead into all of this has been the programs that I've been doing recently where I'm convinced that Stefanski's gone. And the players are damn well sure too. They're not listening to him, not paying attention to him. Nobody's trying. Everybody's just trying to get through the season so they don't get Patrick Mahomes. And this is the way this is working out. He was asked a question about something that was peculiar. The entire beginning of the Browns' first offensive possession was bizarre to begin with. The defense held, but because the special teams gave up a big return, they had field position and pinned us back on the 1 yard line, in essence.
Yep.
And that's when, the Benny Hill music starts and you're just shaking your head. It's like, what now? The one thing that stood out to me, besides the penalties, of course, was Shadur's wristband, where the plays were listed, that he went to the sidelines pointing to his wristband. Did you see that, Tony?
I did.
Yeah. And what did you think the issue was?
That I thought there's nothing in there.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, so that was a question that came up, and I want to share this, and I'm going to add the amazing Kevin, who's graying by the minute and whose penis cannot get erect because he's aged so quickly in 2 years. Here's the question. Here's the answer.
Early on, was there something wrong with Sanders' wristband?
Yeah, there was a miscommunication early.
Now, how does that answer that question? Was there something wrong with Shadur's wristband? Answer, there was a miscommunication. How can you have a miscommunication about a wristband? He's either fucking wearing it or he's not. And he had something on his wrist. Okay? Now look at the look on Stefanski's face after he answers it. It's like he just fudged his pants. You ready for his follow-up?
Well, let's do it.
I think they mentioned that you guys had the wrong plays in the wristband on the first two drives. Is that accurate?
No. Yeah. There was something. I don't know if the wristband got something on it or whatever it was, but there was we got that fixed pretty quick.
So Mary Kay Cabot jumps in and says, what we heard was that there was nothing on the wristband he was wearing. And Stefanski, And look at the confusion on his face. Sounds like an ELO song. Here.
Yeah. There was something, I don't know if the wristband got something on it or whatever it was, but there was we got that fixed pretty quickly.
If somebody spooged on the wristband, if Shedeur was whacking off while he was wearing the wristband, all that is the fucking plays that he's got to call. That's all that is. It's not that big a deal. I mean, there is such a thing as maybe missing minutia. But if you're missing the play band that's legible, why wasn't that detected before Shedeur went off into the huddle? And don't you think that has something to do with why the initial plays had 2 penalties? I mean, what kind of a way is this to start? We're going to bring Steven on here now. Hi, Steven.
I'm here. Let's go.
Hi. Good to see you. Yeah. So when somebody asks a direct question and you get an oblique answer, that person is hiding something. We know because we see it happening no matter which politician is asked a question and they start going into these elaborate, back in the 12th century, and then that, you can just see the noxious gas coming out of their assholes. This is Kevin Stefanski trying. I mean, did he not even have, it's like he doesn't even think he's going to get questioned about this shit. This shit is on TV. Everybody sees it. And he doesn't have an answer to that question. That was the first thing that started the game. No play wristband on Shedeur's wrist and 2 successive penalties. End of 3 and out. Let's continue.
And what about the interceptions? Obviously, the second one was not Shedeur's fault, but the other 2 looked like he just kind of made some poor decisions there.
Yeah, I'd rather look at it, Mary Kay, to give you a more informed answer. We know that team is good at taking the ball away, particularly intercepting the ball. So we'll learn from those.
All right. Mary Kay is going to go for it because she sees that Shedeur, we're going to find out right off the bat for Mary Kay Cabbagehead, if the tide is turned and if the guy she goes down on, Dylan Gabriel, is going to get another chance at quarterback. All right. Hey, Big Lurker, how you doing, man? And hi, Tom Hawley, and hi, Ron Leffman, and hi, everybody. Yeah. So the first thing she does is she focuses on Shedeur's mistakes. All right. Here's what I know. The one interception he threw, which was going to be a quick shot to Fannin, they've only run the play 1,472 times this year. And it's an alleged check down, but he's a primary receiver, and the defender knew it was coming. That's play design. That is a limited menu, and that is an ill-advised throw. And you put all those 3 things together, lousy play called over and over again. It's just like the jet sweep play. The teams have seen it on film already and on tape. They know what we're going to do before we do it. And the guy all he had to do was jump 1 step over and pick it off. And that is on Shedeur. Again, if he sees a guy in that situation and the guy knows it's coming, you got to see him in your peripheral vision and say, either I lead him the other way, but it can't, but it's a stop pattern. He's just going to stop and catch it. It's designed to get Kevin's favorite 5-yard passing play. So that's what that was. But he's not going to come out and say, I got to watch this now. I got to watch this. And I got to see what it means. We know that the other interception, the third interception was, again, there were 3 interceptions. Jerry Jeudy handed the ball to a defensive back on the one. and the other one was another throw to Fannin, squeezed down the sideline. We've seen that play used a couple of times, and if we see it coming, we know our opponents see it coming as well. And that, again, is on Shedeur. If a guy's that heavily covered and his momentum is taking him in the other direction, it's going to be very difficult for him to put on the brakes and even try to break that interception up. 2 picks are on Shedeur. That's the answer to the question. It's a simple question and a very simple answer. Let's continue.
What about the one that did get ripped out of Jerry Judy's hands? I mean, what can you say about that?
Yeah, obviously we're trying to make a play there. In that moment, trying to get on the board. Their guy made a good play.
Their guy made a good play. I don't understand the whole Jerry Jeudy thing, to be very honest with you. I just don't understand it. He's a downer. He's a contentious person on the sideline. He is this season the third. I misspoke and said he drops the most passes. That was last year. He's third in drop passes this year. So, I mean, of all the receivers playing all over the league, this guy is consistently top 5 dropping passes. Why won't the coach put him under some heat? Why do they keep starting him and playing him? And he only saw the ball. That may have been the only time he saw the ball. Maybe one other time. And that's what he does. How does a quarterback trust a guy? And it was funny. I was on the internet watching, and that play came up, and there was a guy on there who says, they all say, "Oh, I'm an expert at looking at film." It turns out the guy's a gambling diseased guy, and he gambles on games. And, you know, what he said was, Jerry Jeudy should have caught the ball, but Shedeur should know that throw can't go to the back shoulder. It's like, do you know what kind of control that would have? The person would have. That pass was thrown where it had to be caught. He had it. He caught it with his body. If he'd caught it with his hands and brought it in and held it tight, it would never have gotten jarred loose. That's on Jerry Jeudy. Let's continue.
And I know you have told us that Shedeur is the starter for the last 4 games of the season. That still holds.
Yes.
Mary Kay, go finger yourself. You know, I'm just making sure that are you sure you don't want to go back to Dylan? All right, let's continue.
Kevin, can you quantify just how difficult the cold made it to operate at times in this game?
Yeah, I think it was the same for both teams.
That's all you need to hear. They had no trouble with the cold. The quarterback had no trouble throwing in the cold. The receivers had no trouble making fingertip catches in the cold. The fact of the matter is they're a much better team than the Cleveland Browns. They deserve to win. And if these teams played 30 times, they'd win 30 times. That's the answer. And the rest of, and it was only a 7-minute press conference, so I'm going to get him the fuck out of here because he's got nothing really to add to all of this. Yeah.
So at 31-3, is there anything they can defend at that point? I mean, I'm surprised the press conference went as long as it did for 7 minutes.
Well, I mean, you know, it's the press wanting to ask questions. They know damn well this guy's fired. They know it. He knows it. I mean, every week he has a chance to do better, as he would say, and it keeps getting worse. Really bad decisions, a really bad roster, and resorting to the same kind of bizarre strategy over and over and over again.
I think the players just gave up. They just stopped responding, like you mentioned in your previous show.
Yes.
And I think at this point is like, if you already know that you're about to jump off the ledge into a pile of horse manure, it's kind of like, well, why don't you just push me off already? Just push me off the ledge.
Well, I mean, it's funny because I saw that Steve Wilkes, a guy who was associated with the Browns in the past, he got fired. Everybody gets fired who's former Browns guy. Freddie Kitchens got fired by Bill Belichick at North Carolina. I mean, uh, Cleveland is not known for hiring great coaches. I mean, somebody else gave Pat Shermer a chance and he then got gone. You know how it goes. This is, and Kevin Stefanski, he's a two-time coach of the year, and let me put it to you this way. My buddy Sam Ritigliano was coach of the year, right? And when they handed him a sack of shit named Paul McDonald, who couldn't throw the ball accurately downfield, he lost his job because of it. And because of the anti-drug policy and program, I should say, that he had, he was never hired by another NFL team ever again. He went to Liberty, and he made Liberty a damn good program for a biblical school. There are some good ball players that came out of Liberty during that run. So a good coach is a good coach. He prepares his players, and there is no reason except that the players are miffed. They look like they were little kids who were cold in the park. And instead of getting on the fucking jungle gym or whatever and playing and warming up, they just wanted to shiver out there. That's what it looked like to me. They just
They're like that dog that's left out by the owner and it just sits out there all night in the cold.
And Rick, we've all been waiting for this, and when are we going to see him look at the tape and then for him to get better? It's not going to happen. And David, I think there is not one guy who makes the decisions. I think DePodesta and all of the stupid statistics that they throw into the equation had something to do with it. It wasn't AB's choice to choose Dylan Gabriel in the third round. That's like a joint decision based upon the people researching it for the Browns, Kevin Stefanski, and the offense that Kevin Stefanski wanted to run. And it didn't matter that the midget had no arm. They took him higher because this is what the offense has been, and it is what Joe Flacco ended up failing in. And that's the other thing that really bothers me. Guy throws 3 picks, but one is not his. And we're a lousy team. We have lousy receivers, and there's nothing good to be said about the offensive line. And so Shadur's getting baked about this. He's getting cooked by the media. Joe Flacco had a good run, and everyone said, "Look at the Flacco run! Look at the Flacco run!" And it's like, yeah, but he had people to throw to. He had David Njoku when he wasn't crippled.
Yeah.
Think of the people that he had to throw to and to downfield. But then nobody talks about the games he threw away with pick sixes, being late on the flat. Nobody talks about that. The fact of the matter is, you didn't see the Bears committing mistakes because they're well coached, they're disciplined, and they're playing in the now. Do I think they're good enough to really make waves in the playoffs? Well, they sure as hell played a good game against us, so that's partly because we're as bad as we are. But I really thought Caleb Williams, no sour grapes here, I thought he looked really good. I think he really looked good. He was on target. There were some balls that were dropped that could have been caught. He was composed. He was, when he was under pressure, he rolled out. He used his legs. He didn't force the ball. He only made one bad forced throw in the entire game. He lived up to why he only has 6 picks on the entire season. And the plays that they set up for the Browns, they worked. And the running game worked. And they were prepared and they went in and they executed. The Browns came in disinterested and wanting to get out of the cold weather, and they were scared. And that's what I can tell you. And I always believe what I've been told by the athletes that I've known. The easiest time to get injured is when you're laying back and you're laying off and you're taking your foot off the pedal because you don't see what's coming around you. You got to be twitchy as hell when you're on a football field. Somebody could roll up on you in a heartbeat. You got to be, on your toes and ready to go. Browns are playing flat-footed. You could see that. So that's that. I don't think that AB is solely to blame. We need a new coach. And when you need a new coach, then the whole offense is going to change, and then your needs are going to change. And I feel better having a quarterback under center who we know can throw the deep ball. And the reason is he's accurate historically in college, and nobody has been throwing out of the 50% range, no matter who the quarterback is for Kevin Stefanski in this offense. So a better offense that would be suited and tailored to Shedeur might give us a chance, especially if we draft wide receivers who can get downfield. Because again, people are talking about Isaiah Bond and the fact that he has gotten behind people on several occasions and had a few complete passes thrown his way that were big plays. And he's a guy who's not going to be an every down player. We need every down players who can also, with size, who not just with sheer speed, but can muscle their way down the field and then can fight for balls that are up for grabs. And if you have an accurate throwing quarterback, it really helps. Ball's always going to be in the catch zone, and then it becomes the athleticism, the length, and the strength of the receiver. We got a bunch of guys now who can't fight for the ball and want to wait for the ball to hit them in the chest. That just isn't good enough. And never will be good enough. David Murray, it's like, I know David's going to be excited. I'm talking about AB getting Judy and shit wide receivers and 6th round picks. And, somebody is analyzing this and saying that's the best guy on the board, or this is the best trade we can make, or whatever. It isn't just one guy. It's a whole scouting system. It's easy to point to one person and say, got to get rid of him. But I take the guy who's just created the architect of this offense, which has failed miserably. And in every instance, it's failed whenever we needed it to be better. It failed against the Texans. It failed everywhere when we did get to the little places that we needed to get to, it failed. And it failed Baker Mayfield. We had that big Pittsburgh win, 45-38, and we in the playoff. Yeah. What happened the week after, huh? Good teams ain't going to fall for this shit. You got to be better at what you're doing. And that is, he can't be any better than what he is. Jamari Thrash is gone. He was waived. And again, a guy can't stay on the field because he's not of size and big enough. And Isaiah Bond took his place because he's faster. I mean, these are the only things that I can think of. But he's just another little guy who just didn't stand out. And, he's no longer on the
Mr.
roster.
Moo, if Isaiah Bond would learn how to catch with his hands instead of his helmet, that would be a good start.
Who?
If Bond would catch with his hands instead with his helmet, it'd be a great start,
Well, Isaiah Bond at least is getting open and catching those balls. I don't know.
I've seen a ball go to his helmet, and he's literally trying to lean in as if the ball's going to crevice between the face mask and the helmet.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. I'm just happy if we make big plays because the shorter plays open wide up when the threat's downfield. They can't just inch in on you yeah, and he's beyond hurt. He's been waived, and he may be picked back up on the practice squad, but they waived him. Um, yeah. Let's see what Amsterdam's saying. Browns had their chance to make a transition, but let our Hoban grad go to New England. Who's the Hoban grad? I wouldn't know who went to that high school. Boy. And
go ahead.
Yeah, an Ed lover of money. Chicago's running game was as advertised, but you know what I noticed is how they were firing off the ball. I mean, there was no this is cold weather bullshit. We couldn't penetrate, and they hit us so quick, so hard. They were definitive about where their blocking schemes were, and the running backs knew if it got clogged up in the middle, they bounced it outside and got yardage out there. Everything from an execution perspective was really good for that team. And that speaks volumes about the coaching, not just the head coach, but the position coaches as well. This whole Stefanski group who were brought in, they got to be let go. We got to bring it all in new. And if Jimmy Haslam, who we know is a liar, for God's sakes, but if when he said, well, 3-14 isn't going to cut it this year, okay? And here we are, he better follow through because I'm gonna find out his fucking personal number. I'm serious, and I'm gonna call him, and I'm gonna call him out. I'm just gonna say, why do you utter things that aren't true? Does this bullshit just spew out of your mouth automatically? It's like you're a billionaire. You could afford to tell the truth. Come on, get with it.
Well, you know, Jimmy's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Well, obviously not. But still, I mean, it's oh God. I'm looking at what people are. Let's see. Walsh Jesuit, be precise. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to get into a conversation about Akron area high schools. So insignificant. Yeah, you can't have a running game without an offensive line. And, this has been proven over and over again. And people asked all the way back historically, Jim Brown retired promptly. And the next year, Leroy Kelly became a really good running back because he still had that great offensive line in front of him. Now, Leroy Kelly would not be as great as Jim Brown, but he was a really substantial running back in his day. And it was because that line just consistently, they were able to run sweeps. They were able to, cut back block. And without an offensive line, there ain't nobody going to gain yardage here. Everyone's going to look stalled like a stalled Ford. In this case, Jerome. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel this way. Again, you have to have savvy people who analyze these people. I know who looks good against Mickey Mouse teams, but nobody did very well against the Indiana defense at Ohio State in the national championship game. In essence, that's not number one and number two won, and they won because of defense. And those wide receivers were not prolific against that coverage. So if Indiana can stop them, the NFL teams can stop them too. We need people who, and I'm not saying that's not the case with Carnell Tate. I don't know, but this has to be looked at more deeply than just yelling out Ohio State receivers' names. A decent line. He played poised. He looked in himself, confident, carried himself well, put the ball where it needed to be put. And for the exception of one play, maybe his receivers made him look good on some balls that were down low, but they caught him. The tight end made a great fingertip catch just this far off the ground. You know, they were good. And I never belittle a team for beating the Browns when they play as well as the Bears did. And quite honestly, the Bears haven't been good in a long time. And it's good to see that in their important letdown potential game that they came out like this. That says volumes about the coaching staff and the preparation that they went through. Have you noticed with Browns best in 40 years of me watching, Browns can't get past a payoff? You mean Jerry Judy's payoff game? Oh, playoff game. I think he meant. Yeah, you've been watching for 40 years and I've been watching for longer than that. And you separate the boys from the men when you get into the playoffs. And we'll be talking about the Cavaliers in a little bit. Great teams are great teams for a reason. When they play the best, they play their best. And that would certainly not be true of.
Well, at least they're not
Browns.
having a Browns reunion. Tell your friend that's been watching for 40 years. At least they're not doing a Browns reunion. What type of nightmare that would be on television?
Yeah, God Almighty. Yeah. Well, I mean, people in Cleveland would settle for one playoff game. Believe me, because the people in Cleveland then would start saying, well, there is a chance. Then there is a chance. If we made the playoffs, then now we're going to be, it's like they say about the Cavaliers. Well, now we're going to be a deep run playoff team, so there will be positive vibes. So just making the playoffs is fine as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. Amsterdam is on weed today. Mike Vrabel. Okay, fine. Yeah. When was the last time we drafted a good offensive line? And that's a fair question because Batonio was drafted, but Wyatt Teller was not. He came from Buffalo way, and Conklin, the always injured, came from Jacksonville, where the injuries had already started hitting him. We're going to bring the Moose on board here. Hello, Moose.
I did it again.
Oh, you slept. Well, I mean, everybody's got to sleep, dude.
Yeah, I did it. No, I went earlier today or during your early morning. I watched the post game that I slept through and most of Friday's program that I slept through. And the one thing that stood out for me was the mental image of hitting Stefanski with a croquet mallet in the nuts. I think that's an appropriate punishment for this fucker. And
he's smug. He's a smug guy.
You go, oh, Buffy, look at this shot. Then, accidentally on purpose backswing into Stefanski's nuts as you're trying to hit the ball through the hoop. It cracked me up.
Carnell hasn't gotten hit like Cedric Tillman got hit 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So
I like Carnell.
Look, it's a fragile thing, the confidence of professional athletes, and until I see a guy do it, I have no evidence that a guy can make the jump from college to professional football. It is the best guys are the good route runners who can twist people into a pretzel. And the reason is those guys tend to have better hands. The guys who are outright speed guys sometimes don't have the best hands. And, it's something that has to be studied. So I know people want to see Ohio State receivers because they've been really prolific. Guys like Egbuka and people who've made Baker Mayfield look really good,
Marvin Harrison, The thing I would say about that is that if you look at the Hall of Fame, 5-star guys throughout their life are the ones that end up going to the Hall of Fame, particularly at wide receiver. If you're really good when you're 13, 14, 15, you just and you work at it, you keep improving. Like LeBron James. And you can tell that these guys that Ohio State pay to go there, these 5-star guys, they're the real deal. They're not, Jedrick Wills or Trent
Yeah.
Richardson and all that.
And I agree with that. And I would rather have the Ohio State wide receivers than continuing to wait till the third round comes around and getting Jamari Thrash from Louisville. All right.
Correct.
I mean,
my favorite player, he's gone, isn't he? They cut him.
Yeah, they cut him. He gone.
He gone. I'm just wondering whether you've mentioned the Cavaliers yet.
Not yet, but I will.
Okay,
I promise you.
I'll hang on to that because
because I do have something that I need to say about that.
Say something about that yesterday.
Ed is asking me, do you think Shedeur should be built around or traded? And the answer is built around. I don't think there's any trade value for him right now. And the fact that he dropped as far as he did in the draft, he's not going to fetch any kind of thing that's going to help the Browns. And we don't have a quarterback right now. Deshaun Watson is not going to play in Cleveland next year. That is a certainty. He's never going to step foot on the Browns field again. That's just a certainty. So you got two guys. And if you're going to go ahead and draft a quarterback and it fails again, which there's probably an 80% chance it will, because, it's, the two guys that were 1 and 2 for the Heisman, Pavia, the guy from Vanderbilt, and he badmouthed the people who gave it to Mendoza, right?
I mean, it's like the worst Heisman class I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Really.
So honestly, he should be built around, and what you build around, it's going to be the same for anyone. It would be, a guy, you got to have wide receivers. And if you think you like Shedeur's arm, if you like his accuracy, then you have to get better people on the field around him and a better offensive line around him. So definitely built around. And let's get Tony back on here. Tony, you with us?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And
I was trying to say, because my freaking microphone quit working. But
wow.
Like every time the Browns try to draft an Ohio State wide receiver, they end up with Brian Hartline.
Well, Robisky. Yeah, Robisky.
Or Brian Robisky, not Hartline.
Why was I thinking that Conklin came from the Jaguars?
Oh, because they're easily confused. The Jaguars, Titans, and Panthers, they're all the same franchise, really, when you think about it. I mean...
Well, Valtoria, thank you for correcting me.
It's an easy mistake to make, I think.
And yes, that's correct. We haven't drafted a viable offensive lineman in 5+ years. And again, we've tried, but they ended up being morbidly obese and
Drew Forbes. I mean, we only hit half the time when we do that. Drew Forbes, Jed Wills. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, and that throws you way back when you get a guy that you think's a mauler who's really going to be a future, not a project, but a guy who's going to come right in, and the guy ends up having no motivation whatsoever, and he's just a big piece of lard. And you wasted a high pick on a non-skilled position like that.
Well, that's the other thing you said the other day was offensive linemen take years to mature. They're a bit like these pitchers that you don't know whether they're starters or relievers, and then finally they work their way up to the major leagues, and you find out what sort of pitcher they are. That seems to be what offensive linemen are. But yeah, I think there's like a 50-50 weight, rate on them. For every Joe Thomas, there's a Tony Mandarich out there.
Well, yeah. They can't miss until he stops taking drugs. Then he can miss.
That's all he wants.
I think the fact that Shedeur is in the position that he's in, if there isn't the apple in the Garden of Eden that you have to pick, then you stay with the better of the two guys. And I think everybody knows that Shador is better than Dylan Gabriel. I don't see anybody.
Oh,
I don't see.
who doesn't
We're not
know that
debating
by
that,
now?
Moo.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is, nobody stepped on Dylan Gabriel's dick while he was terrible when he played for 6 consecutive games, right?
Except for us.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, you don't hear anybody talking about that. If they're bad mouthing Shador. And I'm saying, well, what is the alternative? And God forbid, it's the same people who hate Deshaun Watson who are really hating on Shador. And that's what I always say to them. Well, we'll just bring, we'll bring, Watson back. And then they go completely ballistic, and then, their heads explode like, scanners. It gives them time to put together a real team. And when the time comes, I mean, they may not win much, but if there is an available quarterback that can be had, you give them a real team around them, then there's a chance you'll start winning. So, yes, Pat, I know they always do.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, and Pat and I go back for years on the show, and we always make that joke that it's the invisible thing that you cannot prove that always wins. So this is not a specific, and it's not the Illuminati who are attacking Shador. It's people who have, I can almost guarantee you that if you put them in a room and talk to them, that they would have many things in common besides Shador, their negativity towards Shador.
Can I make my usual comment that I always make in the middle of December every fucking year, it seems
Sure.
like, is that yet again, this season is so fucking long that we're going to end up seeing everybody's practice squad play against everybody's practice squad with all those fucking injuries that happened over the weekend. And I'm just sick and tired of
Micah
it.
Parsons and Patrick Mahomes.
Worse. It makes the product worse. It makes the games worse. I mean, and it makes the it's a shambles. The fucking playoffs now. I mean, is there an even decent team out there? The Rams and the Broncos? Are we supposed to think these are championship worthy teams? And
there's no going back now. The game is the game, and you're not going to change the game the way it's being played. You're not going to be able to go back. And we didn't see Bob Cousy in the day for the Celtics going, my knee, and he ripped his knee out. No, because they played like Clydesdales. Not like racehorses. So, this game is not going to go backwards in time. This is what it is.
Oh.
And everybody is playing with this. I mean, the Browns are particularly inept, mind you, but even the best coaches can lose their best players, and
oh god, yeah. I mean, who
it
wants
can
to
all
see
go to
this
hell
shit when all the top players? If we go back to 14 games, and I could have a 10-minute, remind me at some point when it's really boring in February, and I'll have my 10-15-minute rant of what I would do, because it is kind of dull. But go back to 14 games. It's more than enough.
Yeah, but they're never going to give up the money. You should know that.
I know that, but
that's what they do.
It would need congressional legislation on all these sports to fucking reform them properly.
Yeah, I mean, and Elon Musk, he leaves the whole White House saying now he's back cozying because he just has to be in the money. He has no morality whatsoever.
I got nothing to say about it.
I know we're kind of along the lines of money, but did you guys see that game last night? Lakers and Suns, and LeBron James and the refs bailed him out twice. I mean, he fouled Dylan Brooks on a 3-point shot, and then they called an intentional foul on Dylan as he gets up and bumps chest with LeBron, which got him his second technical ejected.
Right.
LeBron misses
I
the
heard
shot, the
about
free
that.
throw. They get the ball. LeBron tries to draw a foul, couldn't do it. Devin Booker just stood there and was out of his way, and the ref still called a foul from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I heard about it, didn't see it.
Yeah.
You got to
Well,
watch it. It
Gambling,
was disgusting.
While we're trending that way, I'm done talking about the Browns because I could go on and say that the headline, Shedeur Sanders throws 3 picks and regresses. I don't know who in the hell analyzes quarterbacks week to week.
Oh, they didn't do that.
I mean,
Oh.
could you imagine if Mary Kay Cabbagehead had anything to do with the Dallas Cowboys
Oh my God.
and the quarterback who now his name has jumped out of my
Dak
head.
Prescott?
No. I mean, years and years ago, he's
Tony Romo.
no, an announcer now.
Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman. When Troy Aikman starts out, he wasn't very good.
No,
I mean,
terrible.
I mean, a lot of quarterbacks have had tough goes of it in their first years. So it's what it's like. Mary Kay Cabbagehead is like a dumbass who invests their money in the stock market, and they go and they look at their account every day. It's like, you stupid idiot. I mean, the whole thing is it's over time.
Yeah, it grows over time.
You
we
just
could explain
can't
that.
look at it day to day like that or week to week. And that's just complete foolishness.
Yeah.
Kevin
people that buy
Stefanski says
gold,
that job
right?
security is not his focus. Well, he doesn't need to worry about that.
His focus is on Buffalo. He says about how you're gonna lose
Oh, no.
44-2.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
That every Browns season ticket holder for this game at Buffalo try to sell it to a Buffalo fan so that the entire stadium is filled up with Bills Mafia. And that way it's win-win for the fans because they don't watch the game, and 2, they get a lot of money for their ticket and they can enjoy their Christmas the following week. That's my advice.
All right.
Sell your ticket to Buffalo.
I want to move on to the Cavaliers
Yes.
because,
From one disaster to the next.
well, here's something that I'm noticing, and I want to bring it up. And I asked people who I think follow the team very closely online, and I'm not getting a clear answer. Here's, the last 2 games, and that's all I'm looking at right now, the last 2 games. CPJ came into the game 2 games ago and won the game for the Cavaliers. He came out with energy, made steals, scored some buckets, played some real defense, got offensive rebounds. He energized the team. All right. And they won. Came out
That was
after
the
after
Wizards,
the game that it wasn't Kenny Atkinson's idea to put him in the game. It was Johnny Bryant, his assistant coach, who kept yelling at him saying, you got to put CPJ in the game. You got to put, and Kenny acknowledged that in the post game presser, that it was not, he said, that was not my idea. I wasn't going to do that. Johnny Bryant was in my ear telling me that I should do it. I did it. And that's what won the game for us. All right. And I thought, that's really an honest assessment. And, I don't mind a guy being honest about it. You can't be right 100% of the time.
Correct.
Then I watch yesterday's game, and they're playing like shit, like they've been playing lately. And they make their comeback like they do in the fourth quarter. And the next thing I know, hi, Topaz, how you doing? The Cavaliers are up, and 107-104, I believe, or 104-101, something. And all they have to do, Jalen Tyson has hit 2 free throws. You got to substitute, right? Because you got to put your best defense in. there's no substitution. Darius Garland, with the plate in his shoe, remains on the floor for the final, 10 seconds of the game or whatever. They bring the ball up, and the guy who had been torching them on 3-point shots.
Kniffle.
No, it wasn't Knippel. He was
Brandon Miller.
Yeah, Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller.
He's 6'7", and he's not afraid to shoot a three. So they bring the ball up, and they see that Darius Garland is out there, and so they just throw a little screen so that Lonzo Ball, who won't go through the screen anyway, and so Darius Garland is now guarding Brandon Miller.
That's never going to work.
And Brandon Miller starts to dribble, and he's like a foot away and Garland falls back like he's trying to draw a charge, and Brandon Miller just steps back and hits the game-tying three. And I'm like, that can't be. The decision couldn't be that you would leave a guy who was hobbled on the court, and Darius keeps re-hurting the toe over and over.
Yeah,
and they're trying to sell us on the fact, well, that's the way this type of injury is. And it's like, fine. You keep saying that over and over. And he scored 26 points. He did the damage that he was going to do, both to himself and to his toe. There's 10 fucking seconds left in the game. You've just taken the lead. You're up by 3 points. You can foul them so that they will go to the free throw line, and they can only score 2 points and then take the ball inbounds yourself. Or you can make a defensive stand, which means you substitute after the second free throw goes in, and you bring in somebody who's a better defender. But no.
Wow.
Kenny sat on his hands again, and this time Johnny Bryant wasn't screaming at him. So,
yeah, I missed that bit. I literally saw the very beginning of the overtime, and to my mind, how can you go 5 minutes of the worst, most headless chicken? I mean, I've seen more intelligent headless chickens than I've seen that Cavaliers game during that overtime. That I will never, ever forget, because that 5 minutes was the only 5 minutes of that game that I saw. I did not see what caused the overtime. And I was just absolutely appalled. And for me to watch the game, it was, in between the overtime period and the end of the game. I watched it on the bookie site, and they had the Cavs at 3-10, and they had Charlotte at something like 12-5 or something. So I said, fuck it, the Cavs are going to fuck this up. I put 2 measly pounds, which is like $3 on the game for Charlotte, and I was shocked that actually came through and won. And I'm thinking this team has serious problems if they cannot.
All right, I am trying to put something up here, and
they could not run a coherent offensive set during that entire 5 minutes to score points, and obviously the other team's going to get 2 or 3 baskets, because that's what you do when you play a normal type of basketball. This team now a sub 500 team. That's online.
Absolutely.
They are sub 500. They will not make the play-in playing like this.
But there's a reason why. And again, I want to if you are not watching the Cavaliers, or if you did and you wondered how in the hell does this happen, this has happened 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yes,
and
yes,
and I want to add this to the stage and look at
not one.
Just watch this, and you will not believe it. Here,
it's just it's amazing.
Ball taking it away from Johnson. Here's Lonzo. Ball taking it away from Johnson. Here's Lonzo.
Now, you tell me,
or the Bullets, or whatever they're called, the Wizards.
in yesterday's game, he had
A similar thing.
the same thing, and he just trotted down the floor, and he was literally he wasn't running.
It's careless and lazy, and you could not get that a good description at all. You know, it's
Or
horrible.
Or the other possible thing is that he can't run that fast anymore.
Yeah, that's all he can do.
Too many goddamn surgeries on his leg. But whatever the case may be, the excuses that you see and hear in the press conference, Kenny Atkinson, that he was asked about DeAndre Hunter, who has been blowing the big buffalo.
God,
I mean, he has been
shocking.
his face, his body language, he's quit. He has checked out. His confidence is gone.
Yeah, he needs a psychiatrist or something. The way he looks out in the court, man.
I don't know what the deal is, but afterwards they asked him about it, and Kenny Atkinson said, "We just haven't really been able to find the right place to fit him in with the pieces that we have." And what I'm going to say next is, if putting CPJ in the game gave them energy the last time, in this particular game, why did CPJ play only 4 minutes?
Wow.
And there is a helter-skelter kind of thing going on here. And I want Kenny Atkinson to succeed. But
so do I.
We saw Good Time Charlie, and now Good Time Charlie's got the blues. We saw the really great season where everything went right. And now all of a sudden, when we have injuries and it's patch quilt work and we have to put together a viable, group of substitutions, he's failing miserably. The coach is failing.
Yeah.
And and it isn't that the players are as bad as they're playing, it's the way they're being used. And that's the thing that really confuses me, is that, and I want you to hear what Donovan Mitchell said after yesterday's game.
Well,
let me read this.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell pounded his hand on the padded scorer's table, and the all-star guard lowered his head to cover his face in disbelief. That or embarrassment after the game. All right. Wow. In the final moments, some of the Cavaliers fans who stayed around in the Rocket Arena until the end booed the Cavaliers, which has too often played uninspired ball this season. Mitchell's quote, "We deserve it. I was a fan once. I would boo us too."
Wow.
Now, wait, but there's more.
There's more.
And this will say everything that you need to know about why Kenny Atkinson is going to get yanked by Dan Gilbert. You mark my words.
Okay.
Yep.
I've seen it before. Dan Gilbert doesn't have the long dumb rope that Jimmy Haslam has. Ask David Blatt.
David Blatt and Ty Lue and Byron Scott, and yeah, they can all get the yank.
Good old Blatt is gone. Here's the quote. After Cleveland rallied to tie it in the fourth, Mitchell had a clean look on a potential winning 12-foot jumper at the regulation horn, but missed. Here's his quote. "I had one of those nights on a night and situation when I'm not allowed to," said Mitchell. "If I play better, we win that game. Put this one on me. I know my teammates won't say that." A man who's drowning, if I don't save myself, I'm going to drown. I got no help. I got no help. And, a big shark's going to come and Steven Spielberg is going to film it and I'm going to gulp. I'm going to be like Captain Quint. I'm going to be bitten in half. What a way to put things. I'm not allowed to. It's
Yeah,
like every night I have to score 40 plus points for this fucking team to win.
Yeah, exactly. And he did.
Yeah.
He did. Because he was like, he's going to have these 1 for 11 or whatever he had.
So
At what point is old Spider gonna ask out?
well, I mean, and this is the prelude to that happening. He's done everything he can do. Don't tell me there's nothing. There's more that he could do. I mean, the coach has to start playing the people. And let me be real clear about this. You have Lonzo Ball, and you have Proctor. All right, and Proctor's faster. Proctor shoots better. Proctor's green.
And he's trying harder.
He's trying harder. I mean, this is not a hard decision. But this whole notion of, well, Lonzo has a contract that he has a guarantee next year. We want to hold on to him until the trade deadline and to get what value there's no value in Lonzo Ball. He's one of those guys with no legs who's on a scooter. For God's sakes, he's finished. He can't move.
Damn, Moo, you can roast that.
Wow.
No, I mean,
no, you're right. You're absolutely 100% here.
He's a paraplegic. He's had so much surgery. He's not the same guy. He can't accelerate. He can't play good defense consistently. Can't move his feet. The same thing's true of Darius Garland. He's lost his hops, but there's no value for Darius Garland. I, on this program, warned the Cavaliers that Darius Garland was not serious about getting stronger in the offseason and that he is an injury waiting to happen, and it's happened every fucking year. Now he's got no value. You're not going to get anything for him.
For people that have not seen this program, you've said this for at least 3 seasons in a row. At least.
You got to be ahead of the game, because if you get behind the game, you end up over the second apron in your salaries in the NBA, and there's no way to come back, and you end up the Washington Wizards. That's what you end up as. And you can't play Lonzo Ball. It was a mistake. You can't compound the mistake by playing him. You've seen what he cannot do. He cannot shoot. He cannot run. He cannot play good defense. He can't do it. I mean, he's not the same guy that he was before the surgeries. Let it go. You might accept that with Larry Nance Jr., who has disappeared off the face of the earth. And when he did play, looked like he was held together by paper clips.
Yeah.
But at his age, 36, and he's played hard his whole career. God bless Larry Nance Jr. He's had a wonderful career. But Lonzo is, 28 years old? But he's done. He's cooked.
Absolutely done.
So that's what I have as far as knowledge is concerned, and the people who should be playing. It's really kind of obvious. It was Kenny's idea to give the choice to DeAndre Hunter, who said, I want to start. And he's never been a starting player. And he couldn't adjust to the whole thing. And now that things have gone south, he's gone south. He needs to come off the bench. He needs to be a spark player off the bench. All right. Jalen Tyson, who isn't the world's greatest player, even though some of the lovers out there on the Cavs forums think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He is an overachiever, and he's worked hard, and he deserves playing time for sure.
Yeah, he was terrible the first couple games of the season back in October, and has rapidly improved. And he wasn't all that good last year.
No, last year he wasn't prepared or ready, most rooks are not. But he got serious and built his body. He built his body up, got stronger, and he worked on the catch and shoot. I mean, he's not Sam Merrill, but he's shooting at over 40%.
Pretty reliably. He's not having that game where he goes 1 for 11 and then has the game where he goes 5 for 7. He's shooting 3 for 6 virtually every night.
And the other thing I liked is in the game last night, he had a seeing eyeball that found him on the floor. And instead of looking to pass it off, because man was in the corner, Lonzo was in the corner.
Oh God, yeah, they
No.
ignored him.
But he went right up for the shot in the paint, and he didn't think twice about it. And that's great.
Yeah.
You want somebody who has confidence. DeAndre Hunter has no confidence.
Yeah, that's the other thing I noticed during that overtime was that Alonzo Ball would park himself in the corner and he got ignored, and rightfully so. I mean, you go back and watch that. That's just unbelievable. You know,
Were you going to say something, Tony?
No, I wasn't. I just agreed.
Okay. So, who else? I mean, unfortunately, Naquan Tomlin is real green, and you might be able to, he fouled out in like 7 minutes.
Oh God, it was just unbelievable.
And you sometimes you have to let the game come to you a little bit. You just can't be running frantic around. And his three is unreliable, and he's a great second jump offensive rebounder, and he needs more work.
Yeah, that was that Wizards game that he fouled out in like 1 minute flat. I mean, Drew Gooden, who does the Wizards broadcast, God bless him, he was hilarious about that.
Oh, he was out of the game before he had a chance to break a sweat. And but who should be playing? CPJ and Proctor should be playing.
Oh,
the Darius Garland thing is going to play out the way it plays out. He can no longer dribble past the man who's guarding him and go into the paint reliably, because when he lands on the ground, he's hits
dead.
the toe and he falls to the ground and he doesn't get back on defense, and he can't do it. That's going to be a problem. He's going to play. You got to play him. I'm not saying don't play Darius.
Still shoot.
But you gotta, I mean, he had missed 16 threes in a row until last night.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
I mean, it gets in your head when you're hurt like that. It totally gets in your head. It throws your mechanics off. I'm not blaming Darius Garland specifically for a toe injury. I do blame him for not taking conditioning seriously.
Well, yeah,
and he should
like
be
you said,
stronger.
if he goes to the rack and falls over, then we're playing a man down for that next defensive set every single time. And they score every single fucking time when it's 5-on-4 and Garland's like hobbling up the court. It's no good, man.
So, who all should be playing, and no, I don't even know his name. Number 3, the guy, the center of the back, Thomas Bryant. No. Not that good. He's a guy who's just bounced around the league. He's not a serious situation. Evan Mobley should be the center. They should trade Jared Allen and at the trade deadline and get some somebody for him that is a true power forward, and let him up. Let Mobley just be who he is.
Yeah, let Mobley be the 5, for God's sake.
Yeah, and just stop with the ball handling nonsense with him. And you got Spider, who's a big time player. You'll have Merrill at some point back, he has been gone much longer than what I thought he was going to be gone. But he's a guy who's got such a quick release, and it's missed severely. That part of our three, you can notice our 3 percentage has dropped into Bolivian, yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Bolivia.
It's me, Mike Tyson, right into Bolivian. That's part of the problem.
That's the game. If we can't do that, and we got hurt guys that can't go and get layups, Garland and Ball and all these fuckers that can't score layups, we're never going to win.
Is Dean Wade anything worth a fuck?
No, Dean Wade he actually has some hops, but he doesn't have enough body mass to really hold bigger players out. And he's kind of a combo guy, but he can make threes, and then he'll just go cold for 6 games in a row.
He's 10
not
minutes
consistent.
a game. He's 10 minutes a game guy, and we can keep him, but You don't. If you have to play him more than 10 minutes, you're fucked.
Yeah. It's we have a problem, and but it's not helping that the head coach is having trouble with his substitutions and his rotations, and some of
Yeah.
it seems kind of 52 pickup ish. Like, he's already subbing for these guys, and it's just a constant churn, and nobody has any real
Roll.
it isn't even that. There's no chemistry between the people on
Yeah.
the floor because they don't regularly
that-
play as a unit, you know?
Yeah, that 5 minutes yesterday was so bad. I can't get over it. But look at the schedule, man. If you bring up the Cavs schedule, I mean, they got the Bulls twice this week and one or two other games, but then it gets like murderers row.
Well, they're done.
This team's going to be sub 500 by
Yeah.
January 10th.
I agree with you. And I think that it's going to be one of the biggest disappointments. And a lot of this is going to just depend on whether Kenny Atkinson
Survives.
Because I've seen a lot of things with Dan Gilbert.
Yeah.
Just too many things in one respect. The guy's really put money into the product, and that's a great thing. But he has a short leash.
Well,
And-
if fans are booing, and these are some of the best fans in the league, if they're booing the team at the end of the games.
Well, I want to give Kenny the benefit of all doubts because he really did well, and I like his honesty, but at this point, he's got to put DeAndre coming off the bench, and we've got to find DeAndre's shot and confidence because it's shot. I want to say one more thing before I get out of here.
Okay.
Headline: Phillip Rivers to remain Colts quarterback 1 next Monday night versus the 49ers.
Oh,
Now,
my God.
Look, he had his time out there, and it's painfully apparent that he can't throw the ball any distance, partly because of his lack of arm strength and partly because of his girth.
He's old.
And he's out of shape. And they had a chance. I mean, that was a great football game.
That was a winnable game.
I mean, if you watch the end of that game, a 64-yard field goal in jubilation, and then the other team comes back with a 60-yard field or 57-yard field goal to win the game. And Phillip Rivers did what he could to get them into a position to kick the 64-yard field goal, which wasn't exactly a great job by Phillip Rivers. It was a great kick by the kicker.
Yeah.
But now you want to go with him again against the 49ers? I mean, this is just becoming
madness.
The tribute year to Phillip Rivers. But
I don't think they have any choice though, because they were hoping the Bengals would cut Flacco, and the Bengals didn't. So
right, I understand. I understand what their dilemma is, but what bothers me is what Phillip Rivers said, and of course, he wanted to win, but he basically after the game said it was great to be out there and and to experience that, and he goes, I know that I'm old. I know that I could get badly injured, but I want to do it anyway.
Wow.
And I'm sure that's what Rob Reiner's son said too about drug abuse.
Oh.
People can be their own worst enemies in this world. And if allowed to their own devices, will succumb to their weaknesses. And, I'm not going to say much about Rob Reiner, except that going from a sitcom to moving forward, starting with Spinal Tap, and then the run of movies that he made, he had his time. His time certainly had passed. Movies have changed and the types of subject matters have changed. But nobody deserves to die that way. And I said the same thing about Charlie Kirk. Nobody deserves to die that way, but at the
Killed by
hand of your own
son.
child. Yeah, your own child. I mean, it's a terrible thing. But Philip Rivers proved to me in one sentence that, you know, he's got a family. He's got a high school team he's coaching. He's got people in his life. And if the rush of playing professional football isn't gone by the time you're 44, 45 years of age, then you have a big problem. And the 49ers are not going to check up on him. They're going to drive right through him. And if he gets carried off the field, that's not good for him. It's not good for his family, and it's not good for football. No. I love people who do this. No, I'm a moron. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Moose, the question is, Philip Rivers going to be back with the Colts next year? Or is this just for the remainder of the season sort of experiment?
No, this is you know,
please.
this
He'll
is
be starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. What do you?
yeah, exactly. We're going to get him next year.
Jimmy will be all, fuck yeah, he can do it.
Yeah, and then Mark Sanchez will be the head coach.
Yeah, you know, but it does concern me when I see something, and I don't want anything bad to happen to Philip Rivers, but Philip Rivers, in the end, it could be his own worst enemy here. He got through this game, and he damn near pulled it off. I remember the last tennis match that I ever played, a singles match in a tournament, and oh man, my knee was shot. It was before my knee replacement, and I was shot, and I had to go 3 sets with a guy who was from Utah. And he was a road runner. He was a fast player. He didn't have any power. He retrieved everything. And oh my God, I was down 5-0 in the first set, just like that. I mean, lickety split. And, you know, it's a difficult thing when your body just says no. And my ex-wife was watching it courtside, was disgusted with me for, you know, in my mind, I knew it was the last time I was going to play a singles match because around the corner there would be knee replacements and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted, because it wasn't going to kill me, it was going to hurt like a bitch. That's what it was going to be. And going down 5-love to this guy, no way. So I switched rackets because I was using a lighter racket because I couldn't move my feet well enough. And so it was easier to swing the racket, you know, I get a little, you know, but the power was gone. And I was always a power player. So I picked up the old war club and I said, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down fighting. And ended up getting into the 3rd set with him. And it comes down to like a tiebreaker. And I am just like going to die out there. And I get right to the point where I'm on the verge of winning and I start faltering and it's like, oh no. And so I finally get a match point. And on the match point, I saw what he was going to do. And he, because he saw that I was struggling, and he hit a little dink drop shot, you know, and I saw it coming and I took off after it. And when he saw me come after that ball, he said out loud, "Oh no." And I just flipped the racket, hit it cross court for the winner. At the same time, totally pulled my calf muscle. Had to be helped off the court.
Wow.
Which was no easy task, people carrying me. And I fell to the ground outside the court and was laying on the grass. My ex-wife was so pissed off at me. She wouldn't talk to me. And
wow.
And you know, the guy I beat from Utah, I'll never forget this. He came up to me and he saw that I was obviously just, you know, because the tournament was going to go on and I had to play the next day. And there was no way I was going to play the next day. It was going to be an instant forfeit, right? He said to me, you shouldn't have gone on to win that. You should have done the best you could and then forfeited and gave the match to me because you can't play tomorrow and I would have been able to. And I said, since when is this a welfare state? It's like you had the opportunity to beat a fat old guy who's got no knee and you couldn't do it. You couldn't beat Austin Carr.
Wow.
For God's sakes.
The guy actually came up to you and said that.
He said that to me.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Wow. And I said, the next time you talk to me, which will be never, is like, you should have beaten me and then congratulated me for trying hard, but you should have won because look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. Oh. So that's that. Philip Rivers, somebody got to tell him, he's not in a tennis court and just going to pull his muscle. He's going to get knocked from here to Timbuktu, and it could be permanent damage. I don't want that to happen to the guy. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in to this edition of Moohead Radio, another hour and 20-minute version. That's because our viewership is going up considerably. And
there's been a lot to talk about, too. You got two teams that need talking about. The Browns and the Cavs both need, long discussion.
So, at any rate, thanks everybody for tuning in, and thank you, Tony. Thank you, Moose. Thank you, Steven. And thank you everybody for supporting the program, because that is very nice to be able to say that I've done this for 24 years. And unlike Philip Rivers, I'm not going to die trying to do this. I might get laughed at because I'm no longer relevant, but I'm not going to die.
That would be pretty funny if you died on the air. No offense, but the stream just never ends, and it's just your lifeless corpse.
Thanks, Tony.
Tony.
Let's check Moohead Show out.
Oh, Topaz is eating his leg now.
The streaming service is like, we have to stop this. We have to stop this program. Thanks everybody for watching, and I love you too, Tony.
Love you, Moo.
Take care, and we'll see you again on Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Eds. Good night.